All right, we are recording. Good morning, Crystal. All right. Get a bag for blotting. I have water and mixing cups. Here, good. All right, let's say my, I'll use blue to start off with. But I first want to start with the lightest values. Watch this, it's not been opened for a while. This paint gets very crusty on the threads. And brush these crumbs away. Yeah. See. Yeah. Okay. Right. Here comes Elliot. Where do you want to be? You. All right. So I can see my paint has, wow, it's very, this is old. It's possible you could get a bottle or jar of this paint and find that it's starting to evaporate to the point where it's very pasty. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of there. Like this, rather than put water into this and try to mix up the whole thing. I think working right on that piece of paper. There, brush. I want the flat brush again. Rag to blot that with. I got just the smallest amount of yellow still in there, green, from the last time I painted. All right. A few drops of water in there. Better. I'll be careful with the amount of water I put in here, because too much, it'll get too watery, and then these color samples you paint out are going to be too thin. All right. So to start painting for this, you want, if you're going to do the light value colors, I suggest you start with white, not the color, because if you take the color, like if I take blue and I'm adding white to it, it's going to take a long time and a lot of white to get the lightest values that I want. So I'm not going to do it that way. I don't need a ton of white to start out, because as I add blue, I'm going to be adding more, I'm going to be adding more paint to it. I don't want too little, because if it's too little, then it'll run out. I suppose if you were to choose, should you have too much or too little, you should have too much. Take a little bit more. Okay, that on there. Cover that. I don't want it to evaporate anymore. Set that up there. Okay. Dennis is here to say hello. And okay, now for the blue. We'll open the jar off to the side. I don't want that crusty paint falling off the threads. I need another stick. And I think maybe another brush. Going to paint off of them so they're still good in the future. And take some of this here. Put that in there. Good. Yeah, back on. All right. Now, at last, I'm ready to go here. Small amount of blue. Ooh. Yeah, I guess. I'm not using white in the scale. I want to just, I want a color that's very, very light, but not quite white. Make sure I get all of that. edge. I can see a little bit of green coming out of there, but hopefully that won't affect the quality of the blue. When you think you've washed these brushes well enough, when you go to use them and you find that you still got a little bit of residual paint that sort of gets stuck up in that metal collar. But do your best. Okay. There. There. All right. That's pretty good. That's very lucky. They didn't go too far. But that's good. The viscosity of the paint is good. There. Done. A little more blue. I'm on my way. I don't want to pick up too much. Okay. Now, I didn't leave a space between these drafted out shapes for the painting. So I might try to get this one a little bit smaller. I don't want to just start going over the pencil line, because if I lose track of the size of the shape that I intended to paint in the first place, I might end up altering the size of them to the point where some of them become maybe either like too small or something like that. I've seen it happen. You know, if you have too much drift in the size of these that you're painting out, then you might start making them narrower or shorter, and then you find that you've got to cut them, and a bunch of them are too small in one direction. Okay, so as this gets darker, it'll happen, it'll kind of happen a little quickly, that as it starts to darken, you need a little bit more paint each time. I need to add a little bit more of the blue each time to alter this. And I can check what I have on the brush. It's a little bit more. Good. So it's better to be too gradual than to be too abrupt in the shift of color. So in terms of saturation and value, what I'm doing is I add blue. I'm making it more saturated as blue, but I'm also making the value lower or darker. Good. Plenty of paint. And stop. Good. That is enough of a change. Good. All right. So I will do this for a while until I get it darker, darker, darker. I mean, I could have at the beginning painted a sample of blue so I would see what the blue is. I mean, I could just take this here, this smaller brush, although this is a pretty terrible brush. Let's see if I can, I could at least even just paint a little small. Okay. I'll try this here. Maybe I can get this. Some of these brushes that are like a little too inexpensive sometimes don't do a good job of laying the paint down. Sometimes they just kind of spread it out too much. With this brush, I need to put on need to make it a little heavier. It kind of wants to, the bristles are kind of stiff and they want to push the paint aside and leave little streaks in it. So I can go really light. Good. So that'll tell me what blue is. I remember learning the lesson about cheap brushes because, like many students, when I was in college, especially at the beginning, excuse me, I didn't have a whole lot of money to spare. So I bought the cheapest stuff I could find, and then I found that some of the stuff was so, well, it just wasn't made that well, and just didn't do the job. You know, didn't do the job well. You at least need a decent brush. Doesn't mean it has to be expensive. Okay, so as I paint, I'm getting more and more paint sort of built up in the brush. So what I'm doing is I'm painting a little bit out, like an initial blob of paint, and then I'm scraping the rest of it off. That's good. That's good. If you demonstrate painting like this long enough, you'll get good at judging how much paint you should add each time. But when you're first doing it, it's something that you just have to learn by trial and error, which is a good process for you to go through, because at some point, I think I've said this before in the class, decisions about design and art will come down to the judgment of the maker, and that's you. And there, you know, now at the point where I'm at with my artistic practice, and teaching and designing things on occasion, the decisions are up to me, and I'm the one who has to make the choice about what's right. There's no one to tell me. And fortunately, experience gives you that kind of like the soft skill of developing sound judgment about what's right and what isn't right. Often what's right falls within a range. That's too close. You know, there are often many correct answers. You just have to all the way end to end. It's too subtle. There are often many correct answers to a problem in design, and there are definitely either wrong answers or answers that are just not as good. And experience helps you to identify what those are. Oh, there's Joey. Like being in the bedroom. If he were out here, it would be trouble. All right, so you kind of get the idea here, hopefully, with the process, starting with the lightest values of blue and gradually adding this. I think I can go a little faster. Now you want 12 total, so you don't want to go too fast through the light or dark values. Blue is not, the color of blue is on the darker, is going to be in the darker half of your scale. So if you're using blue, remember that. See, I'm not, okay. This is a nice and subtle scale so far, but I don't need to be that subtle. I need to get it going faster here. And as I add more blue, I am increasing the volume of paint. Well, not really. I think I'm about the same. It seems like it's holding steady, the volume of paint. Try not to be impatient. Make sure you mix it thoroughly. Scrape the brush off. Okay. Do this fairly quickly. And you really, as you know from the color wheel, you probably won't really see the color until it dries. So you just have to try to use this process and try to trust the process. I need more blue. All right. Yeah, see, it's kind of good. I would rather go slowly like this. I think I gave you an estimate of like 30 samples total. You might paint more. More is better. There we go. A little bit more paint off of that. More is better than, too many is better than too few. But and I don't want to see that I'm very gradual here and try to hurry up and make too big of a change. Yeah, see, this is we are changing. This is okay. Still, sometimes it still surprises me how gradual this process is. Or like as you get it even to a excuse me, more of the trying to get this into the middle value. It takes increasingly more paint to get it to change to the degree I want. I'll dip that into the water just a little bit. Let me mix this. Don't do that. Someone's going to get a claw in someone's paw, Dennis. Okay. All right. This is. Oh, that there. Can't quite see that, can you? All right. So there's a decent transition. This, compared, considering that's blue, and that's where I'm at right now with the scale. Why did you shut off? I changed. Oh my God. Sorry, I don't know why this thing. Oh, I said never. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Should not have shut off. Hopefully I didn't lose too much of the demo. I may have to edit that later. All right, so I've got it to here, and this is where I'm at, and that's the blue. So I still got a ways to go with the blue. You can see that the blue is dark. This is actually a very nice gradual transition, but at this rate, I would go just as many to get it like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's not bad. That's pretty good for the first half of the scale. So I guess it's not as slow as I thought. And this is good for. This is a good start. This will make sure that I have what I need. Oh my God! Just a second. Hey, quit it. Sorry, I got rambunctious kitties this morning. They really, really want to get my attention away from the monitor and on them, so they're going to act up. If they can't have my attention, they're going to interrupt it. All right, now I'm going to take a little bit out of here. I don't know if that's going to get significantly. Yeah, that's a little better. Well, that's going to be a little better. All right, so I would keep going until I get to close to my blue. Then, with blue and black, we'll need that aside there. All right, so this bit from blue shading with black, it's not going to take nearly as many because blue is already dark. So I think I'm going to pause the recording now. As a side, taking that, put some water in it. I'll get that later. All right, so since I'm going darker, I'm not going to change my water a little bit. Quite that large. All right, so I have that blue sample right there. Well, I'm going to take this blue here, with the water out of there, pick up a little bit of the black. I'm going to need more blue in that. Check that first though and see. Yeah, it's a little darker. Yep. Pretty good. A little more paint. So the black will affect the blue. Because they're both dark, the black will, it might take a, take a little bit for the black to change the blue, but I wouldn't put much in it. I want you to have noticeable, but I guess gradual steps of change. I don't want you to have like great big abrupt shifts in value throughout this in any place on your scale. Okay, so there, if that's might be a little close to blue, but it's okay. That's better. Yeah, that's good. A little water. This paint's been drying up all summer. And poor Joey. I would let Joey come out here, but Joey tends to fight. He takes it all way too seriously. Scrappy little guy. And with these darker ones, you probably noticed this with painting for the color wheel, painting violet and like the red blue, the red violet and blue violet. You probably noticed that it got really dark and you couldn't really see what you had until it dried. Now I need to put more blue in here because I didn't put enough blue in here initially, so I would rather do this now and run out. Okay. Also need more black. Better. So sometimes, especially with this paint being a little bit dried up, so it's heavier than normal, I will dip the corner of the brush into water. I'm not going to pour water into it because that would be way too much. Okay. More black in there. Hey, Elliot. This is Elliot. Say hello, little rabbit. You can't come over here. No. No, don't do it. I'm busy painting. Elliot, stop. You won't lie down. You can lie down there. Wait. Well, I wouldn't expect to have. You're not going to have as many with blue. You're not going to have as many on the that go past blue, like shades of blue. You'll have more tints of blue. Again, tinting is adding white, shading is adding black. Here, let's get this. Yeah, you can not see much difference, but the difference will be there. If I were to just take some black, we go into here. There's a little bit of blue, so this isn't going to be straight black. Okay. That might be it right there. We go. It's going to take some red out of the black. Try to get to where I can see something that is black. You're not going to use the black straight out of the bottle as one of the samples. I want them all to be color. But I wanted to get this see that's right. I wanted to paint one. This is almost completely black right here. But I wanted to, it's so hard to see it before it dries, especially if there's glare from this light. Yeah, well, a little hard to communicate well on camera, but you can see there is a difference. Here's blue. I think that's probably enough because I'm not sure how much more subtle I can be. So with the blue, you're going to get a lot of your transition in the lighter values from like light to medium to a little past medium into the medium dark, which will give you blue. All right, so paint away. I hope that is helpful as a demonstration, and let me know if you have questions. Do you have any questions immediately, either of you? Okay. Well, then I will see you on Thursday. What we're going to do on Thursday is evaluate your painting. So what you should do is get all of your initial painting done, and make sure that you have your design figured out. What is the motif you want? Do you want a repeating sort of like a hook shape based on a triangle? Are you going to make this based on some ancient pattern design? Are you going to invent something new? I want you to figure out your design and finish the initial painting. And then we still have to do the middle value. If I'm done here, I would need to go, finish this off. They all dry. I cut them all out. I line them up. I choose the 12. I'm able to then identify the middle value. Then I'm going to paint for, try to create that middle value background that goes with it. So bring paint and brushes on Thursday, along with all of the work you've done. It's simpler if you use one of the primaries, because then you don't have to mix the color. If you want to use orange, you can. But no. Oh, whoa, it's a little wet still. If you wanted to use orange, you could, but you would have to make sure that you make enough of the orange that you have enough for the entire project, so that you don't have to try to recreate the orange somewhere near the end. So next assignment, you will have to mix a secondary color, because you're going to do a complementary scheme, and if you choose blue and orange, then you'll have to create your orange. Okay? All right, I'll see you Thursday. Enjoy the rest of today.